Hey guys, so we are halfway through the year and I am super excited. I'm like everybody else thinking, where the heck did the first half of this year go? But, you know, I feel like we feel that way every year. So we're not gonna dwell, but I wanted to start this celebrating the half of the year out by going through some of my new favorite characters. These are all characters that I absolutely love that are from books that I have read in 2021. So we won't be talking about like Kaladin or Vin or anybody from books that like I've read previously. These are all from new to me books in 2021. And I'm really excited because look, there's been some really good character work this year. And I'm here for it. I'm just really happy with all the characters that I have met in 2021. And these are some of my favorites. First, we have Mouse from A Girl Made of Air. This is a NetGalley arc that I read. I did a full review on it. I'm not sure if that'll be up now or in the future because, you know, I pre-film like 12 videos and it's a thing. So I don't know when that's going to go up in correlation to this video, but if it's up, I will link it. It is such a cool, like more historical fiction than fantasy story. It is following this girl who we only know as Mouse as she grows up in a post-World War II England in a circus and becomes the world's most renowned tightrope walker. And it's her giving her life story in this book to a reporter. And I loved it. I loved her character. I loved how much she grew throughout this book. And of course, you're seeing everything from her eyes and her perspective. So you kind of are like, okay, is some of this real? Is it not? But honestly, I loved her as a character. I loved how she was so multidimensional and she would be sad and angry and happy and confused. And she, you know, when she was a child, she acted like a child. And as an adult, she was, you know, very conflicted about so many things. And I really loved the character work in this book. It's a very like whimsical, lyrical, night circus-esque book. So if that's your thing, I recommend picking up Girl Made Air. Next up, we have Orca from Shadow of the Gods. This is a funny one because I read Malice by John Gwynne and did not like it very much. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So I haven't continued on with that series, but when he released Shadow of the Gods, I wasn't super interested in reading it, right? I was like, I didn't really like Malice. Like, I don't really care too much. And then I saw Petrick's review and he was talking about this mother character that's like this badass mom and she's amazing and da-da-da. And I'm like, buzzwords. That's my buzzword. So I picked it up. I ended up getting it off NetGalley actually. And it was so good. I might not have loved Malice, but I loved Shadow of the Gods. And Orca was just a fantastic character. She is a mom and she is like a warrior and she's like this badass. So she's got these layers to her. I like when mothers specifically are portrayed with multiple layers because it's like we are more than just child raisers. Like we are more than just mothers. Like I like that and I really got that. And she, look, y'all want to cross her. They crossed her and she's the wrong person to F with. Like she is going to make every single person pay and burn the world to the ground so she can find her son that was taken from her. And relating. Like, I'm not a badass warrior, but I relate to burning the world to the ground to find your child. Like, I just loved it. I loved her story. She was my favorite character of that book, but I really liked all the characters. So, yay. She was a favorite of the year. My next favorite character of 2021 is Dara from City of Brass. I read this a month or so ago. Absolutely loved it. I really love all three main characters, but Dara There's just something about Dara, our like dark genie character that like was this like terrible warrior, but I just love him. And I love his backstory, and I love how dark he is, and how funny he is, and how he's like starting to have these feelings that he doesn't understand, and he is just my favorite character. I need to continue on to the next book because I have the other 2 books in the series. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So I need to know what happens because I loved the end of this book. I loved this book. Like the end of it was like, what? So definitely loved Dara. Next up, we have a very recent read, and that is Lena from Queen of Blood. I did a full review for this book too, so be on the lookout for that if it's not up already. I loved her. She is like literally the opposite of a Mary Sue. So we follow her from the time she's like 7 up until the time she's like 20, and like her village is destroyed, and she decides that she is going to hone her magic, and she's going to go to this academy and be able to protect people. And through this academy, people are chosen to be heirs to the queen. And the queen is basically the person that has like kind of all the magic, has like the bulk of the magic. And they protect everyone from these like vicious woodland spirits. I'm making it sound super weird, but that's what it is. But she's not good. Zelena, like, she works real hard, and she's still middle of the road in school. And she, you know, barely passes an entrance exam. And everyone keeps telling her, like, you shouldn't be here. You're not very good at this. And, like, you're never going to get chosen by somebody. Because, like, you have to get chosen by, like, a mentor type person to be taken out of the academy and trained up to be an heir to the queen, to potentially become the queen one day and hone all the magic and protect the realm. And she just doesn't give up. She's just like, I know I'm not the best, but I'm gonna work really hard to be the best that I can be, even if I know that's not the best. And her growth and just the fact that she doesn't give up and that she's not like super great at magic. Like, I just love that. I love that she's like literally the opposite of like learns everything in 5 seconds. Like the complete opposite, let me tell you. But I love it. I think Sarah Beth Durst does fantastic character work. Like, I think that's where she shines, as you'll see in a little bit. Next up, we have Griff from Flamefall. This is the 2nd book in the Fireborn series, and Griff is a character that was introduced in this book, and I absolutely adore him. He is a dragon rider as well, but he is from like a different faction than the people that we're following in the first book. I'm trying not to do any spoilers, but he's a dragon rider, but he's like a commoner as well. But how do I say this? He's like an indentured servant, and his dragon is muzzled. So it's like he is the dragon rider, but he's like cannon fodder, basically. Like, there's gonna be a war, but like we're gonna send these guys out first and be cannon fodder with their dragons, and then like the real dragon rider. Like, I love him. He is such a well done character, and he's just like my favorite character in this book. And I'm so glad, so glad that we introduced him, because I want to know more after the ending of this one. Oh my god, I need to know more. And we just got an announcement for the name of book 3. Go check out Rosario Munda's Instagram if you want to see it, because I can't wait. Next up, we have Gray from Mask of Mirrors. It was really hard for me to decide, because like I looked at Mask of Mirrors when I was making this list, and I'm like, so many of the characters, right? I love so many of the characters in this book, but I think Gray just won out just a little bit because he's got so many different sides to him, and I'm most intrigued to see what he does in the next book. So that's what makes him my favorite. In this book, we are following like a cast of characters, but our main character is basically infiltrating this noble family, pretending to be a long-lost cousin, which is really not, because she needs some money, but she kind of infiltrates like this real poor, broke family, and it's very obvious at some point that she doesn't really belong, and Gray is like this policeman, but he's kind of disliked by all the other police because of he's like one of the native people of this like kind of conquered land. But then like the other like native people of this conquered land hate him as well because they're like, you're working for them now. So like he kind of gets disliked from both sides. But I absolutely love him. I can't wait to see what he does in book 2. That's coming out I think later this year too. So yay. Next we have Bastin from All the Stars and Teeth. I literally just read this and I'm like, why did I wait so long to read this? This book is fantastic. It is such a fun YA fantasy adventure story with mermaids and pirates and soul magic, and it's so good. We're following our main girl who kind of has some things go awry when she tries to prove that she has mastery over her magic so she can, you know, take her rightful spot as heir to this like island kingdom. And she's supposed to be put to death, and this pirate, Bastin, ends up helping her escape, and they're just trying to figure things out, and I love him. Like, he's a pirate, and he was giving me a lot of Hook from Once Upon a Time vibes. If you know, you know. Hook was my favorite character in Once Upon a Time. Like, I have a thing for pirates, apparently. I love me a pirate. I absolutely loved this book. I need to pick up the second one because I know it's out now. I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy. If you know, let me know. But I really liked him, and I'm very curious to see how his character progresses after the events of this one. I'm probably going to say this name wrong because I read this as an ebook. I didn't audiobook it. Sorry if I say this name wrong. My next favorite is Bamika from Jasmine Throne. I just finished this. I got it as a NetGalley arc, and it was fantastic. We're following this like maidservant as she goes to work basically for this imprisoned princess. And then we also follow the imprisoned princess who kind of wants to rebel against her brother, who is the emperor. And, you know, it's sapphic and it's so good. But Bamika is a lady who is married to one of the lords of this town that they're in. That's like, but she's actually like one of the conquered people. So it's like, she's again one of the like traitors seen as characters. And through this entire book, she is pregnant. At one point, she gives birth. Now, that doesn't sound too fun, but she is such a badass. Like, she's just like, I'm gonna do the thing. Like, she's gonna magically defend her house and her people, and she's gonna, you know, come into her own and finally be like, yo, this is what we're doing, all while pregnant. And then through the later part of the book, all while slinging a baby across her. And I'm like, yes, I love this. Like, I could read more from her perspective. And I love her. So she is definitely on my top favorite characters of the year so far. And finally, remember I told you that Sarah Beth Durst just does fantastic character work? You remember me saying that when I was talking about Queen of Blood? My last favorite character from this year so far is Craya from The Bone Maker. And in this book, we follow Craya along with 4 others who are the original, like, 5 chosen ones who saved the world 25 years prior. And we're following her, you know, 25 years after she saves the world. And just seeing those repercussions, and, you know, they might have to save the world again. And it's like her husband died during this initial world saving, and she became a hermit afterwards and, like, doesn't talk to people. And she has bone magic, so she can, like, make constructs out of bones. And I'm like, yeah, she's fantastic. And I loved this book. I have a full review for this one too. If you want to check that out, I highly recommend you do. I think Sarah Beth Durst is very underrated and underhyped here on BookTube, and she needs more love because she has some fantastic books. All right, well, those are all of my favorite characters so far in the year 2021. I could obviously amend this list. I'm gonna read more books. I can add to it, but I just want to kind of give that midway check-in point of all of the characters that I have fallen in love with so far this year. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. My name is Jessie, and I will see you next time. Bye.